Welcome to Apex, everybody. I am Wolf. With me is Achilles this evening. Where there are winners, there are also losers. And tonight we will have two teams eliminated from this season of Apex. It's sad that with these four elite teams that we have in this loser match, two of them are going home, man.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be the best of the losers in order to advance from here. Winner of our first match, which is EnVyUs versus Athena, going to go up to face X6 Gaming. Winner of that will advance into the semifinal. Loser also out of the tournament. So it's all high pressure from here. People just going to be getting eliminated left, right, and center. EnVyUs going to be looking for that rematch versus X6. So hopefully that time around, for the West's sake, they could actually put a win on the board. But first, they do have to go through a struggling Meta Athena.
That's right. Meta Athena, as their name implies, very much changed the meta in Season 2 and made Zarya very much a staple hero. But nowadays, not very strong, and even though they're moving away from that Zarya meta, they're trying to put Hoon on the D.Va, they're trying to actually run these more dive-oriented comps. They have really struggled. We'll talk more about that later as we get to the match itself. Our second match of the evening will be Combat Spirit versus Lunatic High. Winner will move on to face the
LW Blue.
That's right, LW Blue, with Panthera taking the win over LW Blue, partially due to Giannis's injury, his collapsed lung. So, what unfortunate there, but still, Lunatic High, you know, the defending champions, if they slip up tonight, they will actually fall out of the tournament. So defending champions not making it all the way, definitely a very real possibility, as many Korean analysts, including the Marine, who's the most famous Overwatch caster in Korea, predict actually a Combat Spirit victory tonight. So you have smart people like that saying things, starts to feel a little bit desperate for Lunatic High, but still, most people in the West would consider them to be the favorites right now, despite Who Are You being absent right now. Lunatic High is starting yet again Jito on the roster, so
yeah, thought maybe we'd hold off on that one for a little bit, let everyone kind of wonder, is Who Are You going to be playing? But yeah, like you said, everyone expecting, on the Korean side, Combat Spirit to come up with a victory because Who Are You is still sitting on the bench. So not really sure what's going on in that regard, but it seems like the team still has confidence in Guido to perform. But we haven't yet seen it, and now it's down to the wire. I mean, defending champions, you do not want to go out in the loser's match, so the pressure is on, especially for any of the teams tonight. It's going to be EnVyUs, the West's hope, and Lunatic High as that reigning champion.
When we saw Jito play last week, it looked like, okay, maybe they'll sub him out after Game 1 or Game 2, just to give him some more experience in a high-pressure situation. Didn't sub him out at all. Who Are You, of course, was absent from the studio, and then questions are mounted. Where is he? Why isn't he playing? But when you look at that final game on Dorado, the mistakes that Jito made, especially trying to dive in there into the spawn, actually cost them the series at the end of the day. So he has that experience of making a big mistake on stage now. But will that loss be enough? Could it even be a detriment to his confidence going forward?
I mean, that's always something to be concerned about. I mean, one of the big things that we had questioning Rogue when they came in here was Nico, whether the lack of LAN experience, and that really did shine through on their first performances especially, but it seemed to improve from there. So I think that we can look for a bit of an uptick in Guido's performance. He definitely had shining moments during that set, but overall, like you said, he was making the mistakes that were just a little too crucial, couldn't make them at those moments. And that's when it really counted, and that's when Lunatic High faltered and came up with that loss.
That's right. So, I mean, I feel like every experience is a learning experience in Kilios. So that's the story of that. But we're going to be jumping into our interviews with the players, so take a look.
어려운 점을 본인들이 누구보다 더 잘 알고 있어요.
Any moment now.
숙제로 다가왔다는 생각이 듭니다.
저희가 부족한 게 뭔지 딱 보이더라고요. 창으로만은 안 된다, 공격만으로 안 된다라는 기분이 너무 들어서 아직도 잊을 수가 없네요.
여러 가지 다양한 전략을 좀 보여주기 위한 준비, 이펙트라는 신형 엔진, 파이법이 좀 나오니까 어쩔 수 또 되는 거죠. 네.
X6가 진짜 준비를 많이 해왔더라고요. 와, 이 팀 잘한다. 우리가 몰랐지만 최악체가 아니었다 이 생각했고요. 이제 제 트레이서에 대한 방책이 다 마련되어 있다고 보여요. 그게 좀 두렵네요.
뭔가 EnVyUs는 예전에 저희를 보는 기분이에요, 조합이. 공격적이지도 않고 수비적이지도 않고 애매해요. 상대가 들어오면 이거 받아치면서 해야겠다. 그 성향 중 하나가 코코 선수일 수도 있죠. 팀을 위해 무언가를 하다가 터지는 경향이 많아요. 그게 공략의 열쇠가 될 수도 있네요.
돌진 메타에 적합하던 팀이 아니거든요. 패자조로 내려올 거라고는 예상했어요. 겐지 트레이서 날아다니는 시대에 자리에 혼자 뚜벅뚜벅 걸어다니면서 레이저 뷰 쏘고 있으니까 답답하죠.
우린 뚜벅뚜벅이라도 걷는데 형은 이번 경기에 걸어다니지도 못할걸? 저희 팀은 이번에 포커싱 조합을 연습하는 과정이에요. 성장을 하면서 넘을 수 있는 그런 계기가 되지 않을까 싶어요. 패배라는 단어에 익숙해지면 안 돼요. 이해하는 순간 발전이 없거든요. 저희는 하지만 지면서 억울했고 짜증났고 경기 중에 아쉬움도 넘쳐 흘렀거든요. 승리로 이끌어서 남은 경기도 더 하고 싶어요.
일단 노력하는 모습은 되게 정말 보기 좋고요. 이번에는 승승승으로 이길 테니 바짝 긴장하고 들어와 주시기 바랍니다. 과정은 길어졌지만 결과는 변함없을 거예요. 확신합니다.
Overwatch Apex Season 3, energized by Hot 6, quarterfinal. Today's matchup, EnVyUs, Meta Athena.
The stage is set, ladies and gentlemen. EnVyUs versus Meta Athena. It's time for the rematch. Confidence on both sides going into this series, but may end up being a one-sided one. I think momentum is super important going into this best of 5.
I mean, for sure. I mean, you mentioned this being a rematch. I was talking about, the potential one that we would have with X6 if EnVyUs could win this, but you're right, going back to the group stage, this is actually a reverse sweep for EnVyUs. Went down 2-0 at the start of that set. The first one that they played in Apex Season 3 after their delayed arrival in Korea was looking a bit shaky, but then completing that reverse sweep, getting that 3-2 victory, and starting off the season a bit wobbly, but then growing from there with 2 3-0s very swiftly following forward. So because of that result, because Meta Athena have lacked their innovation that we saw from them in Season 2, you'd still think that EnVyUs would come into this as favorites. Let's go ahead and meet the players.
Chips high-end.
옛날 장석이 쳤던 그 모습이에요. 한번 더 이거죠.
Coco.
그건 안 되고요.
Effect. Harry Hook. Mickey. Taimu. EnVyUs.
There you have it. A team that is a champion of this tournament. They won Season 1 in dominant effect. And this team obviously looked really strong in the group stage, but the toughest opponent they had to face in that group stage was Meta Athena. They struggled there. They talked big against X6, but they came up empty at the end of that best of 5 there, so that's why they're in this losers match in the first place. So 2 very close scores with Meta Athena and X6, 2 very similar teams in terms of breaking the meta, but it feels like there's definitely some asterisks here for EnVyUs, notably Taimu saying he feels a little bit burnt out. He's been living in Korea for 3 seasons now. He's been here for a long time. He's been away from home. He's been traveling. He was at BlizzCon, etc. So can he actually bring himself together, get the strength to finish this match? A big question, as burnout is definitely something that happens in esports, especially early on in new esports like Overwatch.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger question for me is, are we actually going to see any differentiation from the side of EnVyUs when it comes down to what comps are running? Effect in that interview saying that most teams have plans against this Tracer. That's why X6 was able to topple them. Will we see him bring out the Genji? Because right now he's at 100%. We can only question that. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and meet their opponents, Meta Athena.
Saya player.
이것이 루시오다. 루시오. 실패 이어서. 연계. 맞잖아. 계속 루시오. 다 넣었어.
Chris.
지금 또 지금 그리스한테 잘못 줬습니다. 노스 죽기 전에. 그렇지만 어쨌든 캐리. 그래도 상관이 없어요. 네, 어쨌든. 대찬이가 봐. 진다 이거. 이거 구속에서 자, 모아놓고요.
Boom.
하지만 지나갔죠. 메타가 돈 많아요. 리베라. 자, 모아놓고 던져주고. 와, 이겼어요.
Libero.
완벽한 대지.
Alpha.
이거 라인 차면 여기 형님 정확한 총을 쏘고 있으면 장사를 맞추고 있어요. 이렇게 대지면서 지금
Nus. Meta Athena.
Meta Athena coming to this one, perhaps revitalized. They talked about this in their interview, their opening interview, saying they've really been working on target selection and also focus firing, choosing one member, focusing them down. So really working on their dive essentially, because that's been the weak link of this team all season long. And that could be worrisome for EnVyUs, because with Mickey's very aggressive style, he may be the first one to fall, going to a lot of these team fights. And once he's down, that really empowers the DPSs on Meta Athena, most notably Saya player and Libero, to do their work.
Yeah, I mean, they've also kind of put a target on Kogo's back, talking about how he tends to die very early on into the fight. So maybe they just want to focus him, get rid of that front line, and then move on to the legs of Mickey. Just completely eliminate both of those tanks so they can clean up the fight. Of course, you're still going to have to be concerned about Effect, about Taimu. We saw in the past teams having struggles where it's like, well, which one do we go for? Because if you focus on Effect, then Taimu destroys you. If you focus on Taimu, then Effect destroys you. So it's a bit of a catch-22 situation, but maybe Meta Athena have finally figured it out, much like X6 did. But going ahead onto our first battleground of the day will be Nepal to start us off.
I feel like this is a map that really favors Meta Athena, in fact, just based upon how well they can use Zarya on this map. And that's the real big question going into this best of 5 is, will Meta Athena go back to the dive they looked very, very mediocre on in their last best of 5 against Afrika Freaks, or are they going to go back to the meta that they know but is not really weak? It's really weak right now. It's not very strong. It's not very effective. And they're definitely going to have to choose. And if they're flexing on the fly, if they're doing a little bit of both, I'm worried for them, because I think they need to come in strong with one kind of mindset, one sort of composition idea in mind.
Well, EnVyUs recently playing on Nepal versus X6 was a 2-0 victory for X6 to pick up that map. So maybe a poor roll of the dice here for the side of EnVyUs, but you have to expect that they're going to be trying to tighten up those weak points, lock down these maps that they haven't had success on. So maybe Nepal is one of the ones that they've been practicing on very heavily leading up to this match.
Guys, it's time for EnVyUs versus Meta Athena. The rematch is live. We're jumping into Nepal for game number 1.
I get it.
All right, so still some smiles on the faces of the EnVyUs members there after seeing Nepal. So gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and expect that this is something that they have been working on, tweaking their performances.
This is a map we've seen Taimu flex onto McCree several times, but it looks like he wants to run the more common soldier here, at least from the looks of things to start, with the more traditional dive coming out from Meta Athena, who notably starting on Diva, not the Zarya, on Village. Very likely we'll see Zarya on Sanctum specifically though. Perhaps Shrine, he's used it there quite a bit, but for this one it's definitely a more Diva map.
Let's start pushing forward here. Saya player having to use that recall very early as he goes low on the Tracer. Or just everybody going to be dashing around, trying to get some damage in, but no picks coming through. As they say, that Alpha does go down as Effect finishes them off, but both the Winstons will be taken out as Libero finds Coco. back and forth here. Saya player trying to get rid of this baby diva as Mickey gets popped out. Will be able to finish him off, but still, trade back coming through from the side of EnVyUs as well, getting rid of Libero. As they start making their way onto the point, unlocked, and EnVyUs is posturing forward. Should be able to get this first cap. Let's get completed. We'll see how long they can hold on to this.
Yeah, it looked like Saya player might just have done enough to secure it, but it wasn't quite the case with Hoon losing his mech early on in the fight. Mickey didn't really protect anybody in that fight. That's why Saya player did so much damage, but at the end of the day, when Hoon was gone, things did flip a little bit there in that fight. Effect is holding on to that very important pulse bomb. Looking for a target already. No one is showing themselves just yet. Okay, we'll find them on the high ground here, but no good targets. He looks for Libero, though. Libero not deflecting backwards, gets taken out.
Yeah,
Huge
Discord
mechanical
Orb
mistake.
just comes right through, and he gets ripped apart. Effect on his flank just takes him right out. Now, yet again, Alpha. Discord Orb target selection coming through from Chips is on point, and they are just tearing right through them. The sound barrier comes down, but Meta Athena, they're kiting backwards, trying to stay alive. Nuss trying to get out with his life, but Effect with that wry smile on his face dashes forward, takes him out, just giving that stagger over to Meta Athena.
They have a massive lead in ult economy now. Effect didn't use his pulse bomb for any of those picks, and Meta Athena staggered themselves on the respawns by trickling in like that. And already a worry if you're a Meta Athena fan. They've chosen, at least on Village here, to run the more traditional dive pop, but it just doesn't look as practiced as what EnVyUs is running right now, even without the Genji.
It was an enormous mistake to use that sound barrier there, and already Alpha has gone down. Effect finally using the pulse bomb, takes him out off screen. Coco popping the mech on Hoon, and Nuss is yet again dead. The Zenyatta battle winning out now. Taimu pushing forward with attack visor, takes down Saya player, and they're shoving him all the way back into the spawn, Wolf.
Yeah, this is looking terrible, and you can probably see the subtle defense matrix there on top of Taimu protecting him throughout that entire exchange. Mickey actually playing a little bit further back. Obviously, when you have this much control, that's how you're going to do it. You can't dive the spawn, but having that extra protection, this looks like it may just be a hard cap. Meta Athena is going to have to use everything that they have in their arsenal to try to retake, but if EnVyUs just plays defensively, they'll get an advantage. Already, Hoon's out. Alpha, no tanks.
Yeah, Nuss using that Transcendence will be matched here by Chips, just trying to keep everybody topped off, and Hoon has already died alongside Alpha and Libero. The DPS going to be severely limited. Saya player throws out that last-ditch pulse bomb, won't find a stick, and that is going to be Village very swiftly, 100% to 0 over to Envy.
Well, I can tell you that if Meta Athena wants to keep running this, they're going to have to play it a lot better than that, I feel. I mean, they looked like they knew what they were doing in terms of target selection, but Mickey was playing a little bit more defensively than normal, and Taimu was always protected there. But it was Effect who found the most damage without his pulse bomb in the back lines, and it felt like Meta Athena fell apart a little bit there, especially when they came in for their second big push after the cap was at like 25-30%, where they were trickling in members, especially the Zenyatta, who got picked off several times. So Effect just found those targets, punished the play of Meta Athena, and sometimes we've seen Effect struggle to kind of get into his rhythm in the first game. It takes a little bit while to kind of get online, if you will.
No
but this time it's been good.
All right, well, EnVyUs, as we move over to Sanctum, Mickey is starting things off with the Torbjorn.
Okay, it's real. No Orisa support for this, though. Just going to be Coco perhaps dropping a few barriers. They're going to control this first fight with it. At least that's the idea.
Well, the turn's already going to go down as Libero cuts his way through that. Mickey and Effect both falling, but the trade backs coming through very heavily in favor of EnVyUs. Almost a team wipe completed as Chris will go down. Nuss, the sole remaining member, off on the flank on the high ground. Will be trying to retreat, duking out with Chips there. As you can see, he goes low, but he's just going to jump off the map. So effective team kill in the end.
Harry got 2 boops there in that fight, not to mention the fact that it looks like off-screen he was doing a lot of extra damage in terms of headshots. Remember, Harry Hook, an ex-DPS player, does flicks into it oftentimes, so really the MVP of that fight. Even though we were watching Taimu, you have to give credit to the Lucio player here on the side of EnVyUs, making those plays. And now the turret has been reset here by Mickey. He's actually doing a lot of extra damage here on his own. Turret notwithstanding, there's the Discord, and Alpha goes down.
Yeah, yet again, I mean, you can see the communication here from EnVyUs is pretty on point, just going straight onto those Discord Orb members as soon as it comes out from Chips. They will be losing out on this exchange as Libero comes up with several kills, cutting his way through Coco and Harry Hook. So the recount still hasn't happened, though, as EnVyUs maintains control.
Yeah, looks like they're going to reset for another push here. Saya player looking for a flank, unfortunately already spotted by a well-protected Taimu. Chases him away. This is just looking disastrous so far here for Meta Athena. Again, down on ult economy. Molten Core is going to be up in 30%. They just don't have any way to break through. They're going to try to dive in again. Alpha first. Hoon's already out of the mech, though. This is disastrous.
Yeah, gets knocked out by that pulse bomb. Libero now dragging out that Dragon Blade, trying to cut his way through, but Chips has the Transcendence there to just go ahead and nullify. But Nuts pushing forward with his own. They will be able to find Mickey. As Coco's just zapping away, has the Primal Rage, goes very low, finally pops it, keeping himself alive, just trying to find the kill here onto this Genji. A couple more smacks will take him down, and with the help of Taimu, they get the kill, but in that time, EnVyUs shoved all the way back towards that initial choke point. They do lose the spawn, the flip comes through, 75% for them.
They used a lot of ults for that too. They committed to the Transcendence, the Sound Barrier. They didn't have Molten Core. That would have been the big commitment there. So they have a lot of tools to work with to retake still, but not the ones they would have liked. So they were very confident they were going to hold that fight.
Oh dear.
That's a double there if you include the turret.
I mean, given that the Molten Core was available, you kind of have to consider that. In fact, it's going to get jumped on. Does finish off Saya player for the 1-for-1. But EnVy is still trying to stick in here with Mickey on the Molten Core, but he has to place the turret behind these corners. Can't really play it where it has free shots in onto the point.
It's very difficult to, when you're behind like this, get into a position where your opponent has a defensive step to actually have an aggressive turret. It's more better when you're ahead, obviously.
Yeah.
He's going to go ahead and drop down that Molten Core to try to force it now. May even see a switch if this fails. He is protecting it right now. Discord onto Hoon, forcing the self-destruct.
Yeah, shoves them back around the corner. Will go ahead and kill the turret at the end, so Mickey not going to be getting too much profit off of that one. In the meantime, Taimu has that tac visor pulled. He's looking for a target, and Alpha going straight outside of his bubble will get taken down, but Libero follows up for the kill. Now the Dragon Blade cuts his way through Chips. Harry goes down, Mickey dead as well, and Meta Athena will hold on to this point. Nearly had the recap through there from EnVyUs, but they just can't quite find it.
Libero's stepping it up in this series for sure, finding a really good angle there when everyone on EnVyUs was forced back. I like that Mickey's going to switch over to the Diva because Taimu was just not very protected there. He got the lucky kill on the Alpha, like you said, when he stepped out of the bubble, but otherwise wasn't protected. And it's so difficult to attack with Torbjorn here against a defensive setup, so just wanted to force that Molten Core, but it cost them precious time.
Oh, really good defense matrix there, keeping Chips alive, but Taimu goes down on the other side of the fight. Sound barrier down here from the side of Meta Athena as they keep pushing forward. Double Transcendence out from both of these Zenyatas, and the Primal Rage coming through here from Alpha, just trying to smack people out of it so they can actually get taken down. And he's doing just that. Chips and Harry Hook both falling, Effect going low, and now it's into overtime, back over onto the point where Coco and Mickey are desperately trying to create time here for the rest of the squad to get there. They're knocked off. Coco coming back in. Primal Rage as he's low on HP. Has to leap back out. Effect tagging in, just keeping this clock running. But the rest of the squad, still several members respawning here. And Meta Athena might just have it. Harry Hook boot back, leap back in here from Coco as Chips swaps over onto that Sombra. They're trying to buy even more time, but the double kill comes through. Sombra and Lucio get taken down. And Meta Athena come up with a win on Sanctum.
So much time bought there by Effect. That was pretty impressive to see how he danced in and out, going up and down those stairs there, saving his recalls to the last moment, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. In terms of ult economy, it's terrible that the pick there, Saya player actually won that round, I feel, alone, just by killing Mickey, stopping him from getting that important Molten Core off, as you mentioned, because he committed so much to staying with the Torbjorn, even respawning, forcing, I think, losing 3 turrets, trying to get a turret up, getting the Molten Core out. Had he just said, forget the Molten Core, I'm going to switch to Diva, maybe they would have had a better fighting chance. They would have had to self-destruct there to contest, but the commitment to Torbjorn early looked really strong for them. But Saya player really limited its value, and Alpha really stepping up. I always felt that Chongshik was the better Winston, but not today. Alpha looks to be much improved.
These squads getting ready to fight here on top of Shrine as they start pushing and looking for those initiating picks. EnVyUs very much sticking with the same comp that we saw over on Village. As Chips is just being fully protected out by Mickey, playing bodyguard duty with that defense matrix. Meantime, Nuss, Alpha both go down. Chips finally gets cut through by Libero. And he has Taimu as well, dashes through to get that kill. So 2 picked up by the Genji. But EnVyUs still with a man advantage. Starting to get that cap coming through as Mickey postures up onto the point.
Yeah, Mickey just doing what he can to try to grab this. Alpha will dive in to get the mech destroyed, but he's going to pay for it with his life. Or actually will not. Does escape, knocks the mech down. Looks like it's going to be a flip, quote unquote. It's not captured yet, but control will be taken here, at least temporarily, by Meta Athena.
They're off it for a second, so the cap almost actually came through. Pulse bomb thrown out, not quite going to find anything other than the knockout from the mech. So Hoon, going to be in that baby diva form as Effect still dashes through, trying to keep himself alive. Holds onto the recall for so long, and will stay alive in the end. Actually finishes off Alpha as well, even without the Discord Orb. So EnVyUs putting up one hell of a fight to try to get this first cap. Libero drawing out that Dragon Blade, tries to get the kill on the chips. One final swipe will take him out, finds the double as both supports get taken down, but Coco is there to clean up house, gets rid of that Genji. But now, with no supports, EnVyUs try to kite back off the point. They will lose that first cap.
The thing that we talk about with Effect all the time in EnVyUs games is his ability to flank, to find picks, to find kills, and that's usually what a Tracer's job is, but his survivability, I feel, and how long he stays alive in these fights, how much time he buys, especially on this first control point, is really the highlight of what he's showing us here. Very impressive. Fortunately, the fight, of course, goes Athena's way. Alpha going to dive in once again.
That's the sound barrier immediately coming out here from EnVyUs, just trying to keep everybody alive, but it's not going to be enough to keep chips up. He does go down in Effect now, pushing back in onto the point, has the pulse bomb ready to go, looking for a stick if he can only find it. Instead, just helps take down Chris alongside Coco, getting rid of both those supports as Nusk goes down as well. But still, you can see Meta Athena just shoving them back towards the spawn. So even with getting both of the supports down, EnVyUs have not been able to get a cap.
No, definitely not. And they have a few ults available here, but already using the main ones, unfortunately, in that last exchange. So not going to be able to do the heavy 6 ult push. Transcendence here alone is going to be enough to push them back. In fact, not able to get the pick he wanted there. Already used his recall. And Libero's got another Dragon Blade. We see what he can do with these, and here he goes.
Yeah, already chips going down. Alpha actually finishing him off with the leap. After that Transcendence was popped, Libero just trying to keep himself alive, dashes back to the side, tries to get that health pack. As Mickey throws out the self-destruct. Fine Saya player, had so much time to get around the corner, but just was playing with fire, and he got burnt in the end. So Mickey opening things up here for his squad, but still, nobody from EnVyUs just now posturing up onto that point.
So much time bought here from Athena despite that amazing pick. Hoon's demeched here, so this should certainly be the flip. Effect once again surviving through crazy circumstances, getting the health pack.
They're stopping the cap though, it hasn't come through. There we go, finally finds it. And Saya player was dashing around and Libero got taken down. So they bought so much time for themselves, did Meta Athena. 91% accrued on the point. In EnVyUs, they basically have to hold this all the way. If you get a flip through for Meta Athena, you're looking at an overtime retake.
It's going to be the 6-man ultimate push probably for Meta Athena. They're going to do a few eco pokes in here to try to look for that ult percentage. They're halfway there with Libero on the Dragon Blade, which is going to be the key one for how these team fights have been going in terms of ult usage. Actually being targeted down here by Effect. Doesn't find him, but looks for Nuz. Soundbear is forced by this, actually.
He almost finds him, and he might still go down in the end. He does. Effect comes up with the kill all the same. Alpha now jumping around with the Primal Rage, just trying to get these smack-offs. Does find two. Finds several. Mickey goes flying off the map. Alpha!
Easy.
You can see popping off in the booth. Hyped after that play, and he damn well should be.
I mean, that's a rage face for a Primal Rage. If I've ever seen it, that's going to be the map for Meta Athena. They take it.
All on the back of Alpha with that one play. They get the retake just like that, and they find the cap. Good Lord, Alpha destroying with the Primal Rage, and Envy lose map 1, and you really have to go back to sticking on the Torbjorn on Sanctum.
Yeah, and if you go back and look at Alpha's play, the last time these two teams faced, he was playing mostly Reinhardt, actually, for Meta Athena. That's how they were playing with a triple tank. And he was heavily criticized because of his early charges, his aggressive play style. And in fact, towards the end of the series, Changshik was a late sub, was actually subbed in. They still end up taking the series, but I think it was a reasonable substitution. But now that he can play this more aggressive tank, that he's really come into the Winston, could really feel a massive improvement from this series versus the last time they faced each other. And he was the MVP in both, I feel, Sanctum and, of course, that last map there on Shrine. So
I think the MVP, honestly, for Meta Athena was Mickey. Because he just stayed on the Torbjorn the entire time, rather than swapping to the D.Va so he could bodyguard, Chips and Harry Hook.
It definitely hurt them on Sanctum. Absolutely unnecessary as we go into our hybrid map. It's going to be Numbani, actually, a bit of a rare one to see.
Yeah, started off the season, actually, very popular. And then, of course, we had King's Row as the most popular one, but we saw it every now and then. But it has been a good little while since we've seen Numbani. Neither of these teams have played it in their most recent matches.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what Taimu does on defense, and also we've seen the triple DPS attacks with Soldier. Not going to be triple DPS very likely for Envy, but maybe we see him flex onto the Genji. We see Harry Hook play that Soldier. We see that triple DPS attack that comes in with the Soldier on this map. Most Korean teams are running that. Will we see the Torbjorn, the Orisa on defense too? All of these are big opportunities that EnVyUs have in their war chest, in their bag of tricks they can use. This is their map pick, so you've got to think they have a specific plan in mind.
Well, want to change something up. Let's see if it's going to happen here for EnVyUs. Starting off the series 0-1. Want to tie up the score and not let Athena go to match point. Let's go ahead and load in for our second map of this best of 5. We're headed into Bonnie.
I get it.
You can hear Athena fans definitely out in droves here today. And EnVyUs, after that map 1 performance, the fans maybe not wanting to be as vocal as normal.
Definitely struggling there. So on attack, you know, we can never be too certain what teams are running, so don't want to call this one early, but doesn't look like we're going to see the Taimu Roadhog. I would love to see it. Remind me of the old MLG days. Pretty unlikely for Athena on defense, not running Torbjorn at all. They look to be running Libero on the Pharaoh. We've seen this many, many times. The synergy between Libero's Pharaoh and Saya players' Trace are not the best in this tournament that we've seen. I feel like Taimu, in effect, definitely better at that in terms of direct comparison, but they're not swapping. They look like they want to run this. They can really throw a wrench in the gears of EnVyUs, but strange they would do this against a team that runs almost every time the Soldier. Perhaps they have information that Taimu would be switching to the Roadhog here, and if he sticks with it, this is definitely going to help them counter the composition. EnVyUs is going to throw out the triple tank. Feels MLG, man.
He'll be sticking with this one, so if he can get that pick off, you know, work his way onto the top left flank, have that high ground. But actually, you can see here already they saw a rocket, so Taimu says, you know what, I can't run this. I can't run the Roadhog. I will have to swap. So he's going to go for the McCree. So once that hit scan, and Harry comes back to help escort him very swiftly over to the point with the rest of the squad. So really good communication immediately out the gate from EnVyUs.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that a lot of Korean teams specifically won't do. They won't switch very quick when they see the Pharaoh. They'll try to just fight it head on. EnVyUs, I think, taking the smarter approach here, having this hit scan for the counter. Good Violet Grenade, going to put him out of the fight from a nice shot there on the Saya player, however.
Yeah, but Harry Hook still went down, couldn't save his life in time, so they are without that Lucio. So now a lot of pressure on the back of Chips to keep his team popped off. Taimu trying to find these last hits, does help get the kill, as Effect is there on that high ground to help take down Liberos. They get rid of the Para, the Pharmacy Comp has been dismantled, and that's going to be a very swift first cap coming through for Envy. So really, only the delay of having Taimu go back to swap to the McCree. Otherwise, straight out the gate, they get the capture.
I mean, this is good, intelligent decision-making to switch to the McCree, but on top of that, the accuracy that we saw from Taimu, really, really impressive there. Getting the kill on the Saya player, which was actually one of the biggest worries he would have had. Otherwise, he was literally free to look directly at the sky and shoot a Pharaoh that was 180 degrees directly above him. So, Taimu the carry of that fight, and all it took was a switch. Speaking of switches, Libero is going to go onto the Genji here. They're not going to continue to run the Pharmacy. That was kind of a surprise tactic. Perhaps they heard that Taimu was running the Roadhog in scrims, but didn't end up working out as a counter as the Deadeye comes out.
Yeah, he's going to be looking for it. Find any kills with it. By the look of things here, Pulse Bomb comes out from Effect, almost pops Hoon out of the mech, chases forward, and does finish it off in the end. So Hoon going to be exposed, should be taken out. Unless they want to try to keep him alive for the stagger, but now they will kill him and outfocus the tanks. Tank line here from Athena completely dismantled, and this payload is just going to keep moving along pretty swiftly.
Oh man, this is just staggered respawns out the wazoo here, Seth. This is just kills after kills after kills as Athena trickles in 1 by 1, sometimes 2 by 2. But that's not Noah's Ark. This is the payload moving. And look at this. I mean, with what we saw there, again, it's the survivability of Effect. He comes around, it looks like Athena just doesn't take him seriously because he goes so low. It's like, okay, he's gone, he's gonna go heal, he's out of the fight. He comes back inside, he's getting kills, sub 20 health.
Mickey dropping that self-destruct, will find Nuss, takes him out. Taimu's down on the backside, his Saya player does find that kill. Now the sound barrier out here from EnVyUs, they want to posture forward, they want to stick in this fight. Libero has the Dragon Blade out, takes out both of the supports as he finishes off Harry Hook, but Mickey with the boop will be finishing him off. Primal Rage out from Alpha, just trying to delay them 0.38 meters in front of point B. And he's doing a damn good job of it because the rest of Meta Athena is getting back in here to contest this payload. You can see EnVyUs have to kite back.
Now 38.38 meters away. They commit in for the hold. Primal Rage very helpful yet again here. Alpha really stepping it up in terms of dive. And Meta Athena said in their interview they're looking for focus firing, the target selection. That's so important. And when you have Alpha who's this aggressive, who comes in first, the team follows up, they have a target in mind and they're finding it. Oftentimes that's going to be the Taimu, that's going to be Ships. So EnVyUs will reset, again, using so much to try to secure this. They have no ults available, so this is a great time for Meta Athena to try to catch up in terms of time.
Yeah, sorry, not going to get anything there. Effect now, finishing off Nuts and Taimu just getting leapt on. Kites back and keeps himself alive in the end. Helix Rocket's not going to find Saya player, but he's still dangerously low. Can't threaten the back line and will be taken out off screen. Taimu finishing off Chris here on top of the payload. Hoon will get popped out. He will go down. And that will be the completion on point B. 4 minutes, 8 seconds for EnVyUs to get to point C.
Got so many ults about to finish now. They did this without the ult economy advantage. Now they're going to have this nice setup to try to complete this push. In fact, again, free to harass right now, just trying to find anyone he can. Let's see if they actually commit to stopping him. Hoon actually uses the defense matrix super early, way too early to use that one.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb comes out there, doesn't find the stick, so not going to be getting much. And Libero, he's just going to be taken out way too far forward. Alpha yet again having another Primal Rage, going to try to get the knockoff onto Chips. Can he get it? Pins him into the tree. The tree's saving his life. And he'll actually pop the Transcendence in desperation just so he doesn't die. But on the other side, the supports from Meta Athena are yet again dead. And EnVyUs keeps coming up with picks. The self-destruct not going to find anything this time around here for Hoon. And this payload just keeps pushing forward, rounding the final corner with over 3 minutes still on the clock.
And over 3 ultimates here. Effect going to have his Pulse Bomb now. They have so much to work with to secure this, notably the self-destruct.
Yeah.
They're going to have Primal Rage. There's no way Meta Athena stops this, right? I mean, they just don't have the tools. Self-destruct going to be first. Immediately kills Alpha as he darts in.
Dead in midair, and that's going to be the Tac Visor out here from Taimu, firing away, helps pop out Hoon. Dragon Blade drawn out as Libero goes in the back line, trying to finish him off, but he's going to be taken down. That's the completion for EnVyUs. 2 minutes, 48 seconds on the clock.
A nice time bank to work with. They had the one hiccup there going into the second checkpoint, but beyond that, it was smooth sailing. I feel like the big problem for Meta Athena was after the initial capture of the payload itself, they lost that team fight, the first pushing team fight, but it wasn't a wipe. It was just 3 members dead. The remaining 3 were for some reason trying to delay and contest the payload, getting aggressive. There were mobile heroes like the Tracer, like the Lucio, so just trying to buy a little bit more time, trying to get more ults, but because they died, they kind of trickled the respawn. So EnVyUs had that first free push. And the second fights, of course, were very similar to that once we actually had that second checkpoint where EnVyUs had the massive ultimate advantage. So here we go now. It's going to be a defensive EnVyUs now. Mickey already showing the Torbjorn, so we'll see if that's committed to. Taimu also on the Sombra.
I mean, you think back to the last time that EnVy played against Meta. On the payload, on the final hybrid map there in Game 5, it was full holds by EnVy. Only on King's Row was it a 2-2, and that's the 50-50 map where both sides have the most even chance to come up with a victory. So EnVyUs have been known to stomp out Meta Athena on these styles of maps. So very well could be seeing just a full hold on point A.
It looks like they're just very confident with the map itself, and Effect knows how to outmaneuver Meta Athena here. They're going to commit to the Sombra, but not the Torbjorn for this first defense here on point A. It's going to just be the solo support Chips on Ana. Harry flexing onto the DPS here is always what happens when Taimu will play the Sombra. We've seen it mostly on Hollywood. And obviously he's an ex-DPS player, an ex-Soldier main himself. And if you don't believe me, you're about to see the accuracy. Hacks coming down as we see Meta Athena's going to run that traditional dive. Hoon on the Diva.
But it's still just been so lackluster here from Meta Athena. We'll see if they can pull it off this time around. But Taimu hacking some very critical health packs here on the map. Could be halting Meta Athena quite a bit as they're just contained back behind the spawn. Effect keeps himself alive and is still just firing off, trying to build up for that first pulse bomb. Alpha doesn't make it into the room, botches the launch, and Harry Hook on that Soldier, bringing it back from Seasons 1 and 2, does take him down.
It looks like Meta Athena looks to be, for the most part, relaxing this push. They'll look for another way to come in here. Immediately found, though, by Mickey. That defense matrix just absorbed so much damage. Regardless, though, may get knocked out of the mech. Already Hoon is out of the picture.
You find Coco, so trading back on a tank. Side player goes in deep, gets hit by that biotic grenade, has to kite out, but Harry Hook and Chips have gone down, so now there's no support available here for EnVyUs. It's just Mickey and Taimu as Coco comes back in on the respawn, but Meta Athena piling in onto the point will have that first tick. EnVyUs, do they want to go for a final contest? They're starting to push their way up and around the corner. Looks like the answer might be yes as Mickey does come in, but he's targeted out immediately.
They have so many ults almost ready, but not quite there yet. Mickey is out of the mech already, and I think that might just seal the deal here. Although they do commit Coco's Primal Rage here, but nothing to pair with it. Taimu's going to have an EMP, but they just don't have the damage. Looks like it's just going to be an EMP and swap here from Taimu.
No, he doesn't even throw it out. He knows that he's just going to be dead the rights as soon as he goes in, so he holds on to it. They try to stave off as long as possible, but still going to be about 5 minutes on the clock there for Meta Athena on this push.
So Mickey went in and absorbed a lot of the damage. Saya player, though, was completely left ignored and, ended up doing the majority of the damage in that fight. So he had the camera shot of him there, the zoom in, OGN style, but holds on to his pulse bomb now. Nice ult advantage here for Meta Athena. Taimu's going to stick with the Sombra. I thought perhaps we just see the EMP and swap, but wants to use this for the next push.
Oh, really deep in goes Alpha, has that nano boost to try to keep him alive, gets the biotic grenade as well, but Effect is there, follows up with a headshot to take him down. The sound barrier is going to be a bit too late there from Meta Athena. Have already suffered 2 losses. Will just mitigate a little bit of damage as they do get pushed back, and Taimu has burned out that EMP, now looking to build up another one as he pushes in behind the enemy. Somehow they didn't spot him even though he ran into several people. Sees that biotic grenade come out, immediately leaps back to safety.
So push continues here. Holding on to the pulse bomb is Effect. Drops it out now. Didn't actually connect with anybody, unfortunately. Side player still got his and looking pretty good with it so far.
Hasn't really had to use it yet. The payload still moving up here pretty steadily for Meta Athena as they get ready to round that final corner to point B. That player just looking to flank, chip out these backline members where he can. Self-destruct, not going to find anything here for Mickey. Just zone them off the payload, stops moving for a little bit longer, but Chips and Harry have both gone down. Alpha coming up with a double kill on the supports, and now Coco dead. The front line of Envy being brutalized as Mickey is about to be popped out of that mech. Taimu tries to keep himself alive, kiting back very dangerously low on the Sombra, so can't really set up for an EMP yet for the rest of his team to capitalize on.
So much more sustained once the healers are gone. Saya player is just doing a ton of extra damage. Alpha's there always for the secured kills. Whenever Saya player leaves to heal up, that's when Alpha goes in to finish off the kills. So 2 minutes of time really here basically for Meta Athena to match the time bank of EnVyUs. A much cleaner push here. Both these teams kind of snowballing these payload pushes in. And again, another ult advantage for Meta Athena. They've been much more economical with their ult usage so far.
Yeah, it's a massive one. And I mean, EnVyUs do have a couple coming up here soon. The sound barrier about to be there for Harry Hook, as well as the Primal Rage now available for Coco. So they do have quite a bit in the inventory, but already Chip's going to be opened up here, gets taken down, and Libero with a Nano Blade draws it out, looks for Harry, can't quite find him as he's just a bit too fast with the wall rides, takes himself out to safety. So the Dragon Blade not really going to get much. They do pop out Mickey right at the end. As they try to follow up with the kill, Libero will get that with a dash through.
I mean, this is just impressive play out of Libero. Even into the sound barrier, he was able to find so much damage there. The sound barrier was really well timed to try to deal with that, to try to counter it, but still, even though he didn't pick up a 4K or anything crazy, no Haksal, who are you moment, still thrashed EnVyUs, pushed them back into the spawns. Still no defensive ultimates here. Taimu's super close to having that tack visor. Can they make this happen?
Yeah, but now there's not going to be a nano boost to go with it. Chips is very dangerously swapped over to the Zenyatta on this final push with just meters to go, trying to desperately build up for that Transcendence. Taimu just pop that tack visor as the Discord Orb comes through in onto Alpha. Will go low enough to be taken down with the help of Mickey. And now Libero maybe going to be the target. Chips getting jumped onto the backside, gets taken out by Chris, and the sound barrier comes down here from Meta Athena. They want this to be the final push. Mickey is contesting the payload, sneaking around the back in that baby diva form, but will be found out, will be taken down, and now it's on Effect. Has to recall
Dragon
right
Blade's
off
ready.
the bat as he dangerously goes low. Taimu gets cut down as Libero has the Dragon Blade, as you say, but nobody's there to contest. And Meta Athena will get the completion just 2 seconds faster than Envy.
So very close on this map. 2 very one-sided pushes. In terms of the pushes we saw from EnVyUs, I felt like they were just much more coordinated in terms of their team fight. It wasn't the ult economy that really won it for them. In fact, they didn't really have to use their ults there until the end. Meta Athena had a much better ult economy in terms of the attack versus the EnVyUs defense, but I feel like we criticized the Mickey Torbjorn pick on Nepal. I feel like when you look at Taimu's Sombra there, wasn't able to get a whole lot done. The point was captured right at the same time he had his first EMP. Didn't build a whole lot of ult charge. This isn't a map we normally see the Sombra on defense because there aren't a lot of health packs to get that extra value out of. They're very far away from where you're contesting the point. So that was an issue. Couldn't EMP multiple times. The idea definitely was to really severely delay that A capture so they would always, no matter what, have the better time bank. But the Sombra pick didn't work out. They stuck with it for a long time, and I feel like that really hurt them. So Taimu's now going to be switching again, it looks like, onto the Roadhog. We'll see if Meta Athena counters this after they see it, because last time it was the opposite happened. Taimu switched to the McCree after scouting the Pharah, but this time it's just going to be Meta Athena with the standard dive, 2-2-2.
I think it's a good read by Taimu, just kind of figuring that they're not going to try that pharmacy comp again because of the fast swap and how ineffective it was at holding point A. So fully expecting them to not be running that. He just wants to get the pick on the likes of Saya Player and Libero, especially when the deflect is down, and just eliminate half of the DPS from the side of Meta Athena. I mean, even getting something like the Diva, dragging her away from her team, just pop her out of the mech and make her almost completely useless.
EnVyUs is actually going to go deep here, diving under this archway, but backing off now, dropping the bubble here as they regroup.
It's really dangerous.
Insanely.
Yeah, had a really nice biotic grenade catching several members with the sleep dart there onto Coco, but they can't finish them off. So EnVyUs still going to be pushing her on the backside, finds the hook in, dragging out that Diva mech, but they haven't been able to pop anything yet. And yet again, the biotic grenade here in these just very short passageways is coming up trumps here for Nuss. He does get taken out in the end as Mickey finishes him off, and Taimu gets Libero, but it's going to be pretty even exchanges back and forth.
Yeah, really good biter grenades coming out from Nuss, though. He was the hero there.
I mean, look at Alpha. He's got Primal Rage 40% faster than Coco.
Yeah, just more successful in terms of finding that consistent DPS. The biter grenades protecting him and also hurting his teammate in that choke point. Saya Player looks to win this exchange.
The high-pressure Tracer battle.
Yeah.
Beck dashes his way to safety, says, you know what, you have a Lucio behind you. This is not a fair fight, so doesn't want to take it anymore. Instead, we'll just be poking him from behind.
Effect
Pulse
has
bomb
a
ready
pulse.
to go. Can he find it? Finds the stick, I do believe. Takes down Nuss, but Coco has already been traded out by Saya Player.
Yeah, so no numbers advantage, and Libero's going to get the pick here onto Taimu. The Hog pick just has not been working in these choke points. The bio grenades were good in that first fight. Not entirely sure what happened. It was shown off screen there, but
Sound barriers out here from EnVyUs, but still several members dead now. Running back, Mickey popped out of the mech. Will throw down that self-destruct, trying to find something, but it's going to be answered by one from Hoon. No picks on either side, but yet again, EnVyUs delayed from getting onto the point, and now it's down to a minute on the clock.
Meta Athena again with the ult advantage. Libero gets the nano coming in on the
blade
blade.
coming through. Yeah, Taimu taken out as he tries to retreat. Harry Hook gets the boot back, but is finished off by Hoon with the chase forward. And Mickey is just going to be going ahead, throwing himself off the map.
Even if they take it with the next push, which would be so difficult without the sound barrier, the nano boost, which is going to probably be used on the Winston, it's going to be such a burned time pool. They're down to 32 seconds here, so even if they grab it, Meta Athena is still massively in favor here in terms of the time. Saya Player already trickling the health pool down of effect.
Yeah, and you can see here, Taimu, seeing that the Hog's not working, swaps over to the McCree to try to get something done, but Harry Hook off the bat is going to be the first one that goes down. Hit Chips follows suit as they do find Nuss and Crystal. Both supports on either side are dead. Taimu finds the kill on the Saya Player, but gets traded by Libero, who is dangerously low, trying to finish off effect as he only has 5 HP remaining.
That was
Rage
insane.
is out from both of these Winstons, now fighting it onto the point as we go into overtime. The first tick has been found here by EnVyUs, forcing a 66% for Meta Athena on the attack, but can they get more and force the full cap? That's what EnVyUs desperately needs right now. That's the 100% that will be required, and maybe they just find it. Maybe they can actually get this payload rolling.
That they will, so payload's moving. Taimu with the double in that last fight was what really pushed them over the edge, gave them the body advantage. They were able to push through, including a kill while he was at what, like 18 health, 20 health, something like that. He was insanely low, still got that double. Very important. That effect cleans up house. So the overtime push is rolling. Meta Athena does have that Dragon Blade available. No nano boost with it just yet. Ashoon's actually going to dive in. He has a self-destruct. Doesn't want to use it here, I don't think, though.
Mickey holding on to his as well. Is just able to take down Libero. Very crucial one here for the side of Envy. But yeah, Harry Hook will be taken down. Ashoon does toss out that self-destruct. There's still plenty of members posturing in, and Chips throws out the EMP as he is swapped over onto that Sombra. They're trying to take him out, but Coco is actually the first one to pull Alpha, still wreaking havoc there on the Monkey. Just going down, Mickey not finding anything, but they will get rid of the enemy Winston as they keep trying to just inch this payload along. Flashbang from Taimu, just going a bit too far. Doesn't have the lockdown on Desire player, but he still will get taken out in the end.
I mean, the amount of times Taimu's killed Tracers in the series is just too many. Achilles, he's doing so well on this McCree specifically. We saw him really carry with this on the first attack phase for EnVyUs. Now that we're in overtime rounds here, he continues to help this push. And even with the time bank lead that Athena had, that short one, and the stronghold, this is just a free push now. So this might even be impossible for Athena to push this far. EnVyUs with an unheard of push.
Yeah, this is just kind of nullifying all of that. You can see Taimu getting jumped on there. The bubble comes down, so no Deadeye kills coming out. Chips is actually going to go down. Libero pop it off with the nano blade. Finds 3 off the bat. Can he get more? Cuts his way through Mickey's mech. Should be able to finish him off in the end, and that might just be the halt on the push right there. Unless Coco can do some serious work, but he's already so very low, he'll get finished off. But Envy, against the odds, finally find the cap in overtime and then push it all the way in front of point B.
You see the camera shot here on Athena. There's no smiles, there's no celebration. Even though it was an amazing finish there with the nano boosted Dragon Blade, the really good team fight. It's what happened previously, the strong push. An overtime push usually doesn't last that long in competitive Overwatch. I know you've all played solo queue. You've seen this happen to you. It's the most frustrating thing when you're behind in terms of the push is going and then it just keeps going. And no matter what you do, they have the momentum going. Taimu is getting several kills on the McCree, including killing Saya player on the Tracer. Feels so frustrating when you know their time bank is 0, but the push continues. So if you can't have that amazing momentum, if you can't have that overtime push, pushing it this far is going to be a big challenge now for Athena.
EnVyUs backs against the wall right now. Don't want to be taking a match point. This defense, expecting them to go all in on this one. Harry Hook yet again going to be operating on the Soldier with Taimu on the Sombra. Okay. So a lot of protection here. Expect Mickey to stick by Chips.
Let's see what Taimu can get done this time. Last time with the very swift capture from Athena, he wasn't even able to EMP on point A. So Athena is really hell-bent on going back to the meta that's very much more common nowadays, the new era, the 2-2-2 dive. Alpha has really been the hero more than Hoon, though, in terms of peel, in terms of dive in the front lines.
Oh, for sure. He's been the MVP
Speaking
here
of which,
for Athena, but yeah, already high ground going to be contested, but Saya player is actually the first one to fall as Effect wins out on that Tracer battle, and Hoon has already been taken down. It's just going to be a cleanup here by EnVyUs, putting on a clinic as they just team kill Athena on that first push.
There's like an official Sombra video released by Blizzard to show how the hero works. I feel like the picturesque video would be what we saw from Alpha there, as he went insanely low after his heavy dive. Was like, okay, I'm gonna go grab the health pack. He walks in, health pack's hacked.
Like,
oh no, I
nope.
can't heal for my teammates anymore. Alpha's not in the fight. Hoon gets DMA'd. The fight ends basically immediately. Taimu doesn't have the EMP yet, but
he
he's
gets
much
a hack
closer.
in on the Libero to start things off, so a nice little entry hack as he still builds up for that EMP
got
much
it now.
faster than we saw the first time around. Mickey gets knocked out of the mech. Who nearly does, but is able to kite back around. They're going to be operating around the backside of the point here as they try to find an entry. Not getting the knockout on that mech is actually really crucial here for Athena's success.
Okay, choke point here. Chips looking for the big biotic grenade. Should be actually not going to find that. Not going to find the value. Taimu drops down the EMP defensively here, away from the point. That's going to really do a number to the push of Athena.
Yeah, he already takes down one, and Mickey this entire time was in Baby DM form, makes his way back in. Harry Hook, the only one to fall on EnVyUs as Libero finds the kill.
Nice
Still alive,
sleep
but
dart.
now finally will be taken down.
The sleep for the extra delay of the respawn timers. So not only did EnVyUs have that incredible push, but they look to perhaps full hold here. There's a lot of tools, including the Nano Blade, for Athena to take this one, though.
They desperately want it, but the big game breaker here for Athena could be Libero with the Nano Blade. Nuss is ready to go. If EnVyUs can find a pick onto either Libero or Nuss, that probably just completely shuts down that initial push. Tire player finds the hit in, but the biotic grenade's there, and Coco stays alive even through the pulse bomb. Finally, though, the chase comes through, and Hoon will finish him off. Attack visor, the nano visor actually out here from Harry Hook as he's getting jumped on from behind, will be taken down. Just way too many members, just trying to get as much damage in as he possibly could. But Athena is now in onto the point. They have the first tick, and it might just be the cap.
Yeah, looks like it will be Athena going to take this. EnVyUs not ready to contest. Taimu has EMP, though. Not going to use it, just
too
sneaks
late.
into the bag. There's no one to pair with his EMP, he just gets taken out. So will we see the miracle push here in overtime from Meta Athena? EnVyUs already made that happen. But with the long delay here and the successful Sombra this time, feels like the cards are stacked against Meta Athena, but we've seen it happen once, so I don't want to call this one early.
They have a couple things ready to go. Chips, yet again, moving over onto that Zenyatta. Will not have a Transcendence, and that Dragon Blade is still there for Libero, so he's going to be very vulnerable. That comes down on the Saya player as he is caught out in the back, but already halfway on this push is Meta Athena in overtime, trying to make this work. Taimu still has the EMP.
Going to be about that EMP too. It looks like Taimu's on the Saya player hunt with his positioning
Gonna
so
have
far.
to be
There he
game
goes.
breaking. Yes, Saya player goes down. Taimu works his way in, drops it down, and pulse bomb finds Alpha. The self-destruct knocks Hoon out of the mech, but Libero with the Dragon Blade finishes off Harry Hook, finds Chips, but he needs much, much more than that. Loses the blade, will get taken out, and that's going to be it. EnVyUs tying up the series 1-1 as they win on Imbani.
So important that Taimu actually held on to that EMP, and you have to give Taimu credit time and time again on the Sombra. He's looked very good, even on attack sometimes when he flexes over to this hero, which was historically when this hero came out and came into the meta, played by secondary support, but Taimu has this extra flexibility to play the hero and was hunting down Saya player several times. When Saya player can't blink when he's hacked, which happened several times in those fights because Taimu's positioning was so good, he couldn't interrupt the hack, he didn't know where Taimu was going to come from. The fights kind of swung in favor of EnVyUs because they just could not protect the Tracer there, who's kind of off on the side, picked off there by Taimu. So very well played by EnVyUs, a good map choice. They came clearly prepared. You have to love the flexibility to switch Taimu off the Hog onto the McCree. And it looks really good right now for EnVyUs in terms of the momentum shift after these first two maps.
Well, a nice tie-up here. 1-1, no match point for the side of Meta Athena, so keeping it close is Envy. But now, after our break, one of these squads will be moving to match point. They will have that 2-1 advantage. We'll see what happens when we come back, so don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to miss it.
언제 어디서나 깔끔하고 상쾌하게. 이런 게 트레비 스타일. Stylish sparkling water. 트레비.
As a full-time streamer, my computer has to keep up with everything I do, all my streaming applications and the Twitch chat at the same time as the game. The Core i7 allows me to really concentrate on my viewers and my community.
Welcome back, everybody. It is tied up 1-1 as we head into Assault between these two teams. A weaker map for both teams, in fact, in terms of map type. But as you mentioned before we jumped into that break, winner will take match point. This map is so important. And I feel like in terms of Sombra play, EnVyUs is the stronger team, so I imagine Athena wants to stick away from Volskaya. We've seen disastrous things happen on that map with Taimu's Sombra. If they want to run it, then they better have a plan. Obviously, EnVyUs has shown the Sombra on this map many times, including last time when they had the run-in on this very map, which is actually where EnVyUs started the reverse sweep. So I'd say avoid those unfortunate, unhappy memories on Volskaya. Perhaps head to Hanamura instead. You know how to deal with the Torbjorn. You've already dealt with it once this series, so you don't worry about that. You play the standard dive. I think that's the play here. If I'm Athena, Hanamura or perhaps Anubis, but more likely Hanamura is going to be the map pick. If they pick Volskaya, I worry for them. Achilleos.
Yeah, I mean, Hanamura is the map pick that they went for against the Freaka Freaks Blue, which, I mean, arguably much tougher opponent compared to EnVy, so they will go ahead and pick Hanamura again, feeling like, okay, maybe we lost because we're just mechanically not as good as the Freaka Freaks Blue, whereas this series has been a lot scrappier, not one-sided at all. It's been back and forth. The only one-sidedness that we've really seen was Village by EnVy on Nepal.
Yeah.
That was about it, and then everything else has been pretty neck and neck, back and forth. So going back to Hanamura makes a lot of sense here for the side of Athena. They want to run that again, and this time try to put a win on the board.
I think with the communication we've seen upgraded here for Athena, the dive onto the turret, if that's going to be the way that EnVyUs wants to deal with the first point of Hanamura, is definitely something they can use for the approach. So if we end up seeing that Torbjorn, or even Orisa Torbjorn, we've seen on this map quite a bit, they know how to deal with it, they know how to answer it. Alpha specifically leading the charge there. Like this map choice, we're jumping into it in just a moment here, ladies and gentlemen. EnVyUs bringing it back. We are tied up 1-1. This very tense match. So many Western viewers watching around the world as EnVyUs fights back. Let's jump into Hanamura.
get it.
Oh, there's a lot of EnVyUs fans here tonight, but they have definitely been a bit quieter, as it seems to be much more meta Athena favored. Thus showing us the Sombra already here, Kilios. So,
Hey, makes a lot of sense. Let's go ahead and run this. We can change things up when it comes to defense here on Hanamura. Like you mentioned, the Torbjorn is something that we've seen quite a lot in the past. It seems like Taimu's having a bit of an issue.
he has a keyboard issue. We had confirmation, so we'll have that fixed for him right away. Sure, there'll be replacement keyboards available if it's an emergency situation, but more likely just a driver fix or just as simple as maybe plugging it in again. It looks like that's what he did.
I mean, that's the first thing you always go for. Unplug it, plug it back in.
Jiggle the switch, man. There you go. You got a hacker in the game. Sombra here is doing the dance. Maybe she hacked it.
That would actually be a really annoying mechanic if she like hacked you and it like reversed your key movements or something.
Man, don't give Blizzard any
All of a
ideas.
sudden you have like inverted
controls, yeah.
Yeah, like
when you press spacebar, you crouch.
that would just be terrible, actually. I'm sad for even saying that. I don't think that it'll ever be implemented, but God help us all if it ever was.
Okay, looks like we're going to see the aggressive reverse dive set up here for meta Athena.
I mean, there's no Hanzo here, so they have no way of spotting this out, so they're going to find out the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. See how quickly they respond. It's going to be Taima once again on that hog for the triple tank push through here. Looking for sustainability in the push. Already spotted here. There's the hook.
Yeah, the hook's out. Discord Orm's on him, and Alpha will be taken down right off the bat. Can they snowball off? This is going to be the question. Chris getting jumped on will be taken out. Hoon's popped out of the mech. That should just be the first cap. Over here to EnVyUs. The hook yet again from Taimu. Taking out Libero, and this might just be one of the fastest caps on Hanamura Point A that we've ever seen.
I mean, this could even be an attempted double cap here. They already have the ult advantage with this.
There's not going to be enough snowball for that to happen, but the ult advantage, like you say, will be there, so they won't have to stagger to really seal the deal on it, but they could just go for the initial push here.
I just feel like when you have a setup like this, you're asking for trouble, right? You're trying to rob EnVyUs of their first push, and if it goes well, sure, you buy maybe 20 to 40 extra seconds of time. If it fails, you lose everyone and you lose the point.
Yeah.
High risk, low reward, and they get punished here. EnVyUs scouts it out. Good Discord targeting there coming out from Chips, and I mean, this is a massive time make. As you said, one of the fastest we've seen this season. So they do get shut down with their next push. Alpha is going to be the delayed respawn here, but EnVyUs has so much to work with now. So many different eco pushes they could use to build ultimates. And, I mean, it just feels like an unnecessary risk that Meta Athena took. A smart one, an intelligent one, but when it fails that hard, you're really just going to eat it, man.
Yeah, the big thing here for Meta on the defense is going to be trying to bait out Chips with that Transcendence that he now has available, because Nuss, if he just goes in, Chips, popping the Transcendence, thinking that maybe we're going to be seeing that EMP. Actually, he'll just go ahead and pop it, but he gets picked off. And there's not going to be that much follow-up. Whole hog burned out here by Taimu, just shoving everyone away. But the Pulse Bomb actually comes out by Saya Player right at the end. And he finds the double kill, getting rid of the supports. So still, despite the odds, despite Chips not going down during that EMP initially, they still fall all on the back of Saya Player.
So talking about compositions, we didn't really talk about it too much, exactly what EnVyUs is running. Alpha looks like he's going to get picked off here. Nicely done by Harry himself.
Effect is actually on the soldier.
Yeah, it's Effect who slipped on his soldier, which is normally not the case. It's normally Harry himself. So Effect, for the first time this tournament, is playing a different hero than the Tracer.
Yeah, already though, he's getting picked off. Saya Player goes down, as
Harry.
does Nuss. Transcendence burned out there by Chips, keeping himself alive, but now the Dragon Blade comes out, or could come out from the side of Libero.
They have self-destruct.
Yet.
They have self-destruct here, so absolutely a huge tool. This could be the second cap as the respawns are coming out really slow from Meta Athena.
Nuss going low. Dragon Blade is out here by Libero. Finds both the supports yet again, but he will be taken out right off the backside of that. Hoon getting hooked in the Baby Diva will get taken out. In effect, posturing up on the high ground is just trying to fire away. The first tick still hasn't come through though for EnVyUs, and they're getting pushed back off this spot at the moment. Self-destruct, not going to find any kills as Picky tries to get back into the mech. Will be able to do so, but Alpha is just playing Gatekeeper yet again with the Primal Rage, keeping them off of this. So first tick, maybe finally completed by Envy, but they don't get anything else for it.
Yep, Chips actually temporarily switched over to the Sombra. We'll switch back to the Zenyatta now, which I like with a triple tank. You're going to have a lot more damage that way, despite really running only one traditional DPS with the Soldier.
Yeah.
The protection coming out from Coco was actually really impressive.
Oh.
Hook 2.0.
Yeah, feels bad.
But the protection coming out from Coco was really nice when the dive did come in to jump onto effect. He was really well protected. And gotta give credit. Oh, another hook here, nearly pulling in.
Keeps just cutting back around that corner, disconnecting it. So
Still, the
doesn't find
accuracy
it.
is real.
Oh,
you have
for
to give,
sure.
You have to give credit.
I mean, when you talk about Taimu, like
Speaking of
accuracy
legs.
is synonymous with this guy. So yeah, finding Saya player there for the EMP coming down here from Nuss. They already take out Chips, not having that shielding just makes him so very vulnerable, and that's just an easy triple kill scooped up there by Libero.
Nicely done. He didn't have to use the Dragon Blade. He didn't have it yet, but now he's going to have it again, probably with another EMP with how quickly that builds.
And look how far away Chips is from a Transcendence. He's at 40%, so the Dragon Blade can just absolutely destroy EnVyUs. So despite this massive time, making sure they can go for a near infinite amount of eco pushes, they try to build up. But because Chips doesn't have the Transcendence, that's like the most crucial thing that is hurting them from getting onto the second point
Absolutely, and it looks like they're looking for the big six in terms of ultimates here. There's poking in a lot. Effect had several opportunities to try to go for that tac visor, but it wasn't perfect. It wasn't exactly what they were looking for, so they didn't do it. Side player knocks Taimu out. That's a problem.
And he goes down. They do answer one here onto Chris, but Libero cuts down Coco. So just like that, EnVyUs going to be stopped out yet again. Chips does build up another 20-some-odd% for that Transcendence, and Harry nearly has the sound barrier, so both those defensive ultimates are going to be very crucial for the squad.
Taimu makes the switch onto the McCree. What it feels like when you're switching this late and you're looking for that one miraculous 6 ultimate push, it needs to work, right? Or you're going to have regrets. They might have even been able to have to build 6 ults twice with how conservative they've been with the ultimates so far. See if they wait for more here with Taimu now on this McCree, which he's done so well on this evening. Libero's spotted out. She goes down to half health.
It goes low, drops down to the low ground, but he can very swiftly get back up here.
Okay, here we go.
Like
this is going to be the push.
Yeah, sound barriers out here from Meta Athena as Chris nearly goes down. Libero fighting his way in behind the squad, still has that Dragon Blade ready to be drawn out. Chips has already used the Transcendence, so he can just bide his time and then use this right at the end. Jumping in, just trying to get rid of that Zenyatta without having to use the Dragon Blade, and the EMP is going to help him do just that. Chips goes down, a side player finds the kill. EnVyUs has traded back quite a bit here onto the side of Meta Athena, keeping them dead as much as possible.
Nuss actually surviving for a while
still
here.
Losing out.
Mickey 2 health surviving. But yeah, the picks are coming in now for Meta Athena. Libero again holds on to the Dragon Blade, super important. And EnVyUs going to put their eggs in one basket with this push. It's going to be difficult to see a push that strong again. And when you have EMP on the opponent's side, when you're going for these big 6 pushes, I do feel like it's kind of a risky choice when it could be straight countered halfway through the fight when the EMP comes down. That wasn't really the case there in the initial fight. It didn't work out for Envy. They have that self-destruct, they have the sound barrier, but nothing really to pair with those ultimates.
Side player into the back, throws down that pulse bomb, not going to find anything. Chips barely stays alive. Sound barrier there to help chew through that damage. So they stay up. Envy is still looking for the push.
There's the EMP coming out. It's a big one up here on the high ground.
Drops down and Chips yet again, going to be the first one to fall. Exchanges coming through as Harry gets taken down, so no supports here for EnVyUs, and they're still losing out so many members. It's just Mickey and Coco left alive. No DPS there to help contest the point. And 62.7% is all that EnVyUs has been able to accrue so far. 50 seconds remaining of about one more solid push with 6 members, and only the self-destruct to really back them up on.
There's a Taimu switch, again, remember, this is several switches coming out. The effect switch back onto the Tracer. So many swaps coming out for EnVyUs really hurts you in terms of ults. They had the one big 6 ultimate push. Didn't work out for them. Don't have as many tools this time, but they're about to have several. If Taimu can get a good tac visor off here in a prolonged fight, perhaps that could be what does it for them. They have the self-destruct, the Primal Rage. They have several tools. No EMP this time for Meta Athena. One of the things they've used several times to stop these pushes from EnVyUs.
I mean, he needs to build it up very quickly here for this tac visor. Back down with the pulse bomb ready to go. Has to toss it out yet.
Primal Rage coming out.
And he's got the Dragon Blade, looking for an opening, and side player is actually going to go down. Taimu finds the kill here. Swapped over onto that soldier. Very nice pulse bomb. Just containing Libero into the cubby hole. Will not take him out. And Harry Hook goes down. The self-destruct from Hoon finds that kill. Mickey throws out his. Doesn't find anything. Now both supports dead. Dragon Blade out from Libero. Cutting his way to success yet again. As Effect and Taimu both go down. Coco finished off, and it's all on Mickey. The try to sit in here. He'll get popped out of the mech. They do push it a bit further. 69.1% here for EnVyUs.
But it just
Meta
wasn't enough.
Athena, though, they get the hold.
They just couldn't get the momentum there with those fights. The big commitments to the heavy 6-man push. They could have perhaps had twice as many ultimates as they used there because they wanted the one big push. We're going to use everything. We're going to collapse on this. We're going to crush it. We're going to get the full capture. When it didn't work, and we saw several swaps, the swap for Effect back onto the Tracer, the swap from Roadhog for Taimu into the McCree, then going into the Soldier. All these swaps bought very critical time for, unfortunately, Meta Athena to build more EMPs, which Nuss, I have to say, hasn't built EMPs as consistently as I would have expected him to, but he had the extra time because of all these swaps coming out from Meta Athena, and this bought time and time again. There's so many different delay tactics there for Meta Athena, so when EnVyUs had the big strong push where they got 2 kills instantly, they just couldn't carry that momentum without more ultimates.
Rough stuff here. And Chips just constantly being preyed on. Just made for one push squashed after another. But 69.1% accrued here for EnVyUs. So, not terrible, not great. Meta Athena on the attack. Seemed like they're just going to be running pretty much exactly what they've been running this entire time outside of that initial start on Nimbani.
See what EnVyUs is going to do if they actually commit to both the Sombra and the Torbjorn. This is part of why I was saying I think Meta Athena would be wise to pick this map because they would expect something like this. Not necessarily the Sombra and the Torbjorn together, but one of the two. They've shown the ability to deal with the Torbjorn already. And yeah, you say 69.1 is not too bad. That's very true, but with the massive time bank they had, it's a bit worrisome, right? Meta Athena has a great opportunity here to best that. If they can have a similar first push here, that's going to be the critical thing in terms of time bank. So let's see if they can make this standard dive that they haven't used really most of the season. They're trying to perfect it to crush this Torbjorn defense.
All right, well, yet again, a lot of pressure here on Chips as Harry Hook is on the Soldier, so needs to be staying alive as that solo healer. Mickey yet again trying things with the Torbjorn. I can appreciate it a bit more on Hanamura compared to Nepal.
Definitely so. So he's not getting the early turret place and wants to have the safer one here within the point. It's being protected right now. Saya player looking for an angle here. Also scouting a little bit for Alpha so they can actually commit to the dive.
Well, it's going to be going straight in onto the backside. Maybe just trying to open up and get rid of that turret, which is just steady building up ultimate percentage here for Mickey.
Okay, it's down already here. Libero's taking it out at range. Saya player takes this opportunity to go in the backlines. Alpha dives in.
Alpha goes in, but Chris is falling right off the bat. Turret gets taken out, but Effect finishes off the monkey. Still good defense here from EnVyUs, but now that Chips is dead, that could change things. But you see the very swift kills coming through here from Effect and Mickey.
Those a window,
turn that on its head.
There was a window of time for Meta Athena to make that work, and they committed really heavily to the dive there. Alpha even got the second turret down immediately, but during that commitment to killing the turrets that were really well protected, EnVyUs just had the better fight. Taimu's accuracy, it strikes yet again. It's so annoying to deal with Taimu on the Sombra and Effect's Tracer both at once. So mobile, such good accuracy.
Well, speaking of such good accuracy, not that great there from Effect. Doesn't find the stick in. Onto Alpha, who he could have taken out. But in the meantime, Harry Hook does get rid of Nuss, and there's really just very limited ways for Meta Athena to push forward without having that Zenyatta there. And you can see just how far behind he is with this Transcendence, just at 40% now. So it's going to be a while before we see that come through, and it might honestly just be the desperation that they need.
What?
And Taimu,
he just commits to
the solo EMP. He just wants to shut down the Zenyatta because it's so much zone control for Meta Athena to push in onto the point, having that Transcendence to keep everybody topped off. So he says, screw it.
What a sick move.
He says, I can build up my EMP way faster than you build up your ultimate. It actually forces out the swap. Nuss goes over to the Ana.
Now this is really well done. You don't see moves like that with the EMP, such a team fight oriented ultimate where you get massive value on 6 members, at the most. So using a one member feels counterintuitive, but in this case, staggers the spawns, forces the swap. Really good decision making here yet again from Taimu specifically here on EnVyUs. Does get taken out here, but as you said, can build that ultimate so much faster.
I mean, that's the kind of thing that if you saw that in your solo queue would probably piss you off, but if you think about it, it's actually really ingenious.
Yeah.
So that was really well identified there.
Oh, look at this.
By Taimu, and now Effect coming into the backside. Will be spotted out by Hoon, but still makes it in the back, drops down the pulse bomb, but won't find any kills coming through yet. Mickey, building up, trying to get towards that next molten core, but he's still a ways away.
Trying to get on the high ground there, Chips, Harry, unfortunately unable to. Here comes Libero's Dragon, but they've been terrifying so far. Gets the single, but is knocked away.
Harry in the tag visor, gets smacked off the map. Alpha yet again coming up, Trumps finds the kills, and it seems like EnVyUs are just going to be abandoning this point. They say, you know what, we've held it for long enough. It's a minute on the clock. 5-minute hold, 69% is what we got. I think that we can pull this one off. We will be seeing some swaps coming through here as Harry Hook actually moves over to the Zenyatta.
You always want to toss it away when you have such a massive lead in terms of direct comparison in time pool, because the only way you lose this is if they get a full cap, and if they get the double because you trickle in to really try to full hold, then that's not going to be the way. So with just 69% to get, a little bit risky for EnVyUs to do that, so I respect their ability to just back off here.
I mean, it's just past that second tick here for Meta Athena. Will be slowed up, not going to be having any snowball push. As Effect just being very frustrated by the defense matrix, won't be able to find that opening.
Yeah, the protection against his pulse bomb attempts have been really good so far, and he's had a few accuracy mistakes with it, let's say.
Yeah, so that already demonstrated. Self-destruct comes through up onto the high ground here.
There's the pulse bomb
not going to find anything yet. Does get rid of Libero, and that's just going to open up the floodgates here for EnVyUs as the kill starts spilling in. Chris trying to kite back, keep his teammates alive, but there's a very angry Ape on top of him. And you have to expect that he'll be going down. Actually, we'll leave him. You can see Coco just fearing that with the Discord Orb might not win that 1v1.
Actually, really good
especially with the
accuracy.
respawns coming through.
He was in such a good position there, too, in the
Fire.
stairwell.
You just throw your balls in his face.
Exactly, and that's what we saw. So Taimu looks angry and focused here, but Chris survives, does have nearly the Transcendence now, partially due to that building ultimate since he stayed alive and all the extra damage he did in that fight. So Meta Athena will have a big push here. They might commit to the big 6 here for this one. EnVyUs has a few defensive tools. Mostly, though, it's the self-destruct they have to slow down a push like this.
Hoon's pushing in there, trying to disrupt that top side, but will just get taken out. Now the leap in from Alpha sends him dangerously low as well. The kite back into the hallways. Taimu's just still operating up onto this high ground across the point.
Well, Taimu has that attack visor with no Diva here. It's risky to actually commit to this. They do use the Transcendence, however.
Yeah, it comes down from Chris, but they still were just playing on the high ground. They didn't try to get onto the point at all. Now attack visor out by Saya player will be zoned back. Taimu finds a kill with his own onto Alpha. Saya having this high ground, just have a nice position, but the rest of his squad isn't there. They won't be able to contest, and they don't even get the first tick.
I mean, Diva versus no Diva, pretty good, right? The one that has the Diva on their side. So Taimu did a lot more damage in that fight. Hoon getting picked off immediately by him actually on the high ground was actually the key factor there in the beginning of that fight. So a lot of tools used, unfortunately, for Meta Athena. I think the most unfortunate one really is the Transcendence that didn't do anything for them there. It's going to take a long time to rebuild. In fact, Chris is going to switch onto the Lucio for faster respawns for the eco pushes here. Pretty smart decision, but not one they necessarily had to make had that not been used.
Yeah. So I mean, that was just rough stuff. Not trying to play around the point once you pop that Transcendence is so very bizarre unless you're immediately threatened by something like a Dragon Blade or a Pulse Bomb. But Alpha jumping into the backside does get slept out. The Nano Boost comes through just to try to keep him alive. The Discord Orb is still on him. He jumps into the back, and Taimu finishes him off with the Helix Rockets. Now the kills yet again just pouring forth as Libero and Nuss go down. With just a minute and 44 remaining, Coco keeping the rest of the squad out with that Primal Rage. EnVyUs look to complete this hold on point B and go to match point.
It's just such unfortunate ult usage by Meta Athena. EnVyUs was able to really focus fire Alpha down immediately in that fight. The Discord Orb came out. The Sleep comes out as well from Chips. You have these two things that immediately kind of nerf that Monkey as he dives in, and so he goes down, and 2 ultimates again missing for Meta Athena. They would have nearly had the 6 without it. Chris at 50%.
But Pulse Bomb comes through. It has the stick. Triple kill comes through for Effect. Side player Nuss and Libero all wiped off the map. Let's make it a quadra as Chris finds the kill. The Penta as Alpha falls. Can he complete it for the team kill? The jump off the map from Hoon. Let's take another look at this. Good God, Effect finds the angle.
And, you know, I talked about all those ultimates being missing for Meta Athena. It really hurts. Nuss is just not going to have Nano for the next fight. No way. They're going to have almost everything else. Well, they're going to have to make it work with this one. EnVyUs has a lot of defensive tools here. Again, Mickey soon to have the self-destruct. That's going to be really key going into this one. That kind of make or breaks the overtime.
This is going to be it, the all-in here for Meta Athena. 30 seconds on the clock. Dragon Blade, as you say, available for Libero, but Harry Hook does have the Transcendence to try to keep he and his squad alive.
Okay, self-destruct
coming through, but it's in the stairwell. Not going to find anything here to kill any members of EnVyUs. Sound barrier comes down. They're going to be pouring down the staircase, wrapping around the backside of the point, trying to find the hit. Effect yet again! Double kill! Saya player and Nuss taken right out of the fight. Self-destruct finds Hoon in the baby Diva, and EnVyUs, good lord, just tear through Meta Athena like a hot knife. through butter.
That's
gonna
be
the hold. That's gonna be match point as they take Hanamura in convincing fashion.
Two amazing plays there from Effect. And the problem with Meta Athena is they went all in on this push, and you can tell by where Libero was positioned. They looked for the early pickoffs with just the straight up left clicks coming out from Genji, looking for the damage onto the supports in the backline. Looked like he wanted to dive in and disrupt, force the tanks out of position, knock Mickey out of the mech, the tag visor comes in, but none of that matters when Effect comes in and gets the double. Your entire push, your entire concept is ruined, and they forced themselves into that choke point. They got stuck in the stairwell, and there was no retreat, there was no way out of there. Even after the first two picks went down, perhaps they could have backed off, looked for one more push in a different scenario, but not when they were trapped like that. Really well done by EnVyUs. And Meta Athena, I think, kind of shot themselves in the foot there a little bit with some disjointed ultimate usage. Let's watch the play of the game.
I wonder, who's it gonna be? What a goddamn shock. Effect. I mean, you gotta give him credit for getting the stick this time. There were some really botched ones, but the communication between Envy, allowing for this play to happen, drawing the attention of Meta Athena to the front, into the point, keeping them all facing this way, keeping them away from the Tracer, not paying attention to Effect, is what allowed for that play to happen. So it was a team effort for sure by Envy, but Effect, he gets the accolades at the end of the day. Another pulse bomb following up after that for the double kill on that final last-ditch push.
You know, it might even be time for a tactical pause after that one. We'll see if they want to use it or save it.
I mean, they're really pushing the limits if they don't do it. This is match point.
Absolutely. You have to expect, given the track record of Meta Athena, that 100% we go to Dorado here. When you think about Boon's Zarya, I know that it's not meta, and he's definitely been moving away from using it. They've struggled a little bit in these situations. I feel like it might be time, and it looks like we are going to see that tactical pause. Or no, it's going to be a player sub.
This is going to be a swap. We're going to have Johnson come in.
That's really interesting. So they could indicate they want to play the Reinhardt on Dorado if they go with it, but kind of an unusual swap considering Alpha's been playing so well, actually, on the Winston. So this swap alone, this substitute, may indicate a swap back to that Zarya style. Perhaps the triple tank and a defensive setup on the choke points going into Dorado. We don't know the map yet. We are going to take a short commercial break as the players swap out their gear. See you guys in just a few moments. EnVyUs on the cusp of match point. We'll see if they can take it after this short commercial break.
세상은 무서운 곳이야. 심지어 여기 눈바니에서도 우릴 보호할 존재는 필요하지. 5R15 방어 로봇을 소개할게. 옴닉 사태 때의 구형 이디나 모델을 완전 새롭게 개조한 거야. 얘들이 우릴 지켜줬어. 잠시 동안은. 둠피스트가 공격했을 때 난 공항에 있었어. 로봇들은 속수무책이었지. 모두가 널 포기했지만 난 너에게서 가능성을 봤어. 그래서 내가 나섰어. 프로그램을 업그레이드하고 마음을 주었지.
새로운 인격 모델 설치 완료. 시스템 재부팅 중. 5R15 온라인.
아니 그런 거 말고 위대한 영웅에겐 진짜 이름이 필요해. 오리사는 어때? 난 널 강하고 용감하게 만들었어. 넌 아직 배울 게 많아. 가끔 사고치고 와서 날 화나게 할지도 모르지. 그래도 난 네가 우리에게 꼭 필요한 영웅이 될 거라 믿어.
내 이름은 오리사. 당신을 안전하게 지키겠습니다. 그것이 제가 작동하는 목적입니다.
얘들아, 결승전을 우리가 이렇게 올 수 있는 게 진짜 어떻게 보면 진짜 마지막일 수도 있어.
Still very much a Meta Athena crowd, but EnVyUs on the cusp of taking this set. And like you said, advancing onto that final map of the group. It would be a rematch of them versus X6 Gaming. You'd be damn sure that they want to go for that rematch and they want to come out with a victory this time around.
Yeah, and it feels like EnVyUs' story has just been hitting these teams, going the distance, going to the 5th game. Rematches abound as well. Perhaps they win this one, they get the win this time against X6, but we're not there yet. They will be on defense first. And Meta Athena shows Changshik on the Winston, so a surprising pick, though. You know, a lot of people might criticize how overall, in terms of his history, we've seen such aggressive play coming out from Alpha's Winston, his Reinhardt as well. But I feel like in this series overall, the synergy has been better. The follow-ups for his dive have been better for Meta Athena, and didn't really have much bad to say about his play tonight. So a surprising swap if they're going to run this. Obviously, this is attack. We'll see if things are different on defense.
For now, though, looks like they will be sticking through with this one. So just opting into the same exact comp that we've been seeing all night long. But will the swap over onto Changshik make the difference? He leaps onto the high ground, just zap it away where he can, but goes dangerously low and has to kite back. So far, payload not really moving, and Changshik's actually going to be the first one that dies as Coco finishes him off with a leap onto that high ground.
Losing that Winston battle already for sure here, as the Diva coverage is good coming out from Mickey. And it looks like this is going to be into this push. Nearly the kill on the Libero. Effect tracks it in. Chases him all the way into the spawn.
I mean, this is looking eerily familiar to me.
Yeah.
This forward position that EnVyUs is able to take up onto the high ground, just completely commanding the payload.
You have to break this, Changshik has to be your man. He has to have the really good dive, and the follow-up has to be good. We'll see if he steps in here first. It's going to be Hoon. Here comes the dive. Can they make it work this time? Early barrier comes down, but again, they concede the point.
It drops back down, but the payload moves up a little bit here, so they at least gain some ground, but getting it around this corner is going to be the difficult part, but getting rid of Coco is going to help open that up. As Hoon does go down, Taimu takes him out, and Changshik will fall. No tanky front line now for Meta Athena. Both supports dead, so just like that, EnVyUs, where things maybe look okay for Meta, they take hold of the reins and they take control of the payload yet again.
I mean, if they are going to use, if the reason they switched to Changshik is for this defensive setup on this map, they definitely want to have a much better attack than this. Obviously, we're still early on. They have 2.5 minutes, but they haven't accomplished much with this composition just yet. Not impressed as anyone, really, even the Meta Athena fans so far with this play. Here comes the pulse bomb.
No stick there for Saya players. Could have been such a crucial one. Effect-esque. If he had landed that, could have got a multi-kill, but in the meantime, the nano visor coming through here from Taimu. He's just going to fiercely drop down onto the low ground, but immediately regrets that one as the Transcendence is there. Now he's being hounded by the enemy. Product Field coming down to try to keep himself alive, but it's only about a matter of time. He'll get booped off, so his eyes were a bit wider there than his stomach. I don't know what the expression is.
I know what you're trying to say here.
His eyes were bigger than his stomach, his appetite, whatever.
Yeah, bit off a bit more than he could chew, some would say. But the push continues. Looks like they're going to grab this fountain cap fairly soon. Effect trying to change this, though. The immediate Primal Rage coming out here for Changshik.
Oh, Effect kills himself with the pulse bomb. That feels bad.
Yeah, feels bad, man, indeed. He's definitely had a few inconsistent ones this evening. The Saya player is looking for the pick. The Transcendence was used. Dragon Blade coming up right afterwards. He does secure this.
The bro trying to find the kill here. We'll get that final swipe through in on the Taimu, and just like that, with a dash onto Mickey to finish him off, will be the completion onto point A.
It was really about the high ground. Meta Athena struggled to take it for so long, and it was changed when we saw Taimu actually go onto the ground. His eyes were bigger than whatever you said, and he popped the tack visor too. And then that was where they lost control, when they lost that high ground. They held it for so long, but after that, Meta Athena had total control.
Saya player trying to sneak his way over for that pulse bomb. Won't be able to find it. The back off, the Discord orb comes through, so just keeping track of that Tracer. A massive part of EnVyUs' defense and their success. Libero going back over onto the high ground. Almost helps take out Chips, but he'll get burst back up as Changshik goes down yet again. We'll trade one on to Taimu as the fight continues. Libero dashing up here, takes out Chips, looks for Harry, and will be able to finish him off. So both supports being very easily handled by this Genji.
Yeah, this is pretty solid push coming out from Meta Athena. Saya picks up the kill onto Effect. It just feels like momentum has massively shifted here. Meta Athena getting the picks they're looking for, hurting that back line, popping onto the supports. So big ult lead right now for EnVyUs. They definitely want to use that to stop this checkpoint, or else the time bank is going to get a little bit out of control. See what's going to be first. Coco dives in, nearly has the primal rage, wants to accrue that here.
They get rid of Dust, attack visor yet again. The nano visor is out, but Libero straight into his face, cuts him down. But still, Effect coming up, comes up with that kill, takes out Hoon with that pulse bomb, follows up for Chungshik yet again.
He gets a triple
gets taken
there.
out, yeah, and he just, Effect is just ripping his way through.
Had that unfortunate pulse bomb earlier with the recall, self-destruct, if you will, of himself, but otherwise that was a pretty solid display there, knocking Hoon out of the mech, getting the pulse bomb kill. And they hold this with very few ultimates used because Effect did so well in that last fight. So they have a lot still in their war chest here for the defense. Ultimate economy in their favor as Meta Athena actually diving deep here with Saya player to look for some respawn kills.
Effect goes down. That's going to be a nice start here, but Dust does fall.
No one knew he was
coming through, and he's not going to go down. Forces out the Transcendence by Harry Hook to keep himself alive, and immediately drops down onto that low ground to top up the rest of the squad. Self-destruct out from Hoon, not going to find any kills, but Libero does take out Harry Hook after the Transcendence is over. So pushing back in helps take down the Genji.
So calm and collected was Taimu in that crisis scenario too, with Saya player behind him, just pops down his biotic field, waits for his teammates, calls him out, gets the heals, survives to take him out there. Saya player will actually take down Effect, however.
I mean, right now it's a really good looking hold for EnVyUs. They got a lot of grounded Meta Athena after the initial picks came through. But this hold here in front of point B, in front of that final corner, has been looking very strong for them. It's less than a minute on the clock, 50 seconds, all that Meta Athena have. And they're still a ways away from a sound barrier from that next Dragon Blade. Libero currently at 70%.
This is the hardest place to get caught too, because you have the longest walk back here in between these points before you get that checkpoint. Libero's about to have the Dragon Blade. It could be their opportunity here. Transcendence being popped early.
Yeah, they're trying to push forward here. Effect getting chunked out a bit. Now that Discord Orb coming through onto Coco as he tries to keep himself alive. Leaps to the other side. Meanwhile, Nanovisor's out as Chungshik goes down. Taimu just firing away yet again. Defense Matrix there from Hoon to try to mitigate a lot more of that damage coming
shot
out.
there, though.
He'll go down. Yeah, they find the pick in on a Saya player. Taimu finding that one. The Helix Rocket's actually not even required to come up with that. He'll just go down from these shots from the auto attacks. Payload is moving up. Chris is trying to sneak this one along.
Yeah, he's trying to.
Getting back in onto that mech will be booping him off the point. Libero, Dragon Blade needs to be the trump card here for their success to get this completed. It's now into overtime. Mickey just trying to push them off as best as possible. Chungshik goes down. Didn't have a primal rage to try to buy more time for themselves. Overwatch is taking down. Dragon Blade dragged out. Chips will find the kill with the biotic grenade, and that's going to be it. 89 meters from point A is how far Meta Athena will make it. And now Envy, all they need to do is effectively go to point B, and the set is theirs. They'd be moving on to face X6.
They're so close, they could taste it. And it was about high ground control. Chungshik, the swap from Alpha, subbing him in here. The Winston play not as inspiring, to be honest, so far. Discord Orb usage, always picking him off early in those fights, really well done. And Taimu oftentimes was dove upon, but it was funny because you would see Taimu in these situations where he's got a Tracer on his back, a Tracer and a Winston, and he survived consistently. The crisis management was good. Mickey came over to save him. Harry had come over to save him there, Chips as well, and suddenly this dive just felt like it failed when they couldn't kill Taimu. He got back onto the high ground. It was kind of a rinse and repeat defense for EnVyUs. So let's see here. Meta Athena, at least from what they're showing so far, wants to run the Mei defense potentially here. We've seen Libero do this on Dorado before, as Taimu looks pretty happy with himself, but we were really expecting that it might be Hoon Zarya coming out, and if he doesn't pick it, it's definitely going to leave a lot of scratching heads as to why they subbed Alpha out here. It just doesn't make sense yet.
Still running the Diva, so I think that we're just going to see this, and I mean, Meta Athena right now is basically doing what we saw Envy do on Sanctum with Mickey playing the Torbjorn, except now they can't swap it. Chungshik is in. You can't put Alpha back in. You only get the one swap. So they committed to this like Mickey committed to Torbjorn, and it is not paying off.
No, definitely not. Saya player's going to play Soldier here to try to give Taimu perhaps a taste of his own medicine here from the high ground. It's going to leave them Tracerless, but they will have Libero on the Genji, so kind of a different way to run the Soldier, having your backline diver be the Genji instead of the Tracer. Definitely not as mobile, doesn't have as much escapes, and Effect has been crushing Libero in terms of 1v1 when they face each other, so a little bit worried about this defensive setup here for Meta Athena.
I mean, you see Mickey and Coco immediately going up onto the high ground, just trying to spot out Meta Athena, see where they're posturing, see what the comp is going to be. So they get those call-outs immediately. And now EnVyUs starts playing up around this payload, where it's already moving because so many members are set back on top of these buildings. They can't drop to the low ground to contest, and the rest of the team gets picked off. Changshik and Nuss both going down. In effect, just wreaking havoc, dashing his way up here to try to disrupt Saya player.
Already is so much more of a strong attack coming out from EnVyUs. It's the triple here now when you consider Hoon's knocked out of the mech, and it was a immediate dive in coming from Changshik. He was targeted, he was discorded, he was killed. Chips turns his attention immediately to Nuss, gets that kill as well, and they are just shoving this hard. We even see the swap from Saya player as he realizes this Soldier play is not going to cut it when they don't have as much peel, when Changshik is diving instead of protecting him defensively. Hoon's still not that experienced on the Zarya.
Effect actually surprisingly giving away his positioning. Will be dashing in, trying to find a kill in onto Changshik, who has been proven to be the weak member. Finds out, throws out the pulse bomb, finds Chris with it. Coco goes down, but Changshik and Hoon both going down as he gets popped out of that mech. Harry has the boop to kill him, and Taimu looking for that final shot on Libero. Won't quite find it, but Harry's there to pick up the pieces, and point A has already been achieved. 5 minutes and 5 seconds now on the clock here for EnVyUs. 89.3 meters, all that they need to win this set.
Changshik finds himself an easy target against Taimu's DPS as well. When he dives in like that, he's got the stun, he has the Discord to help burn the tank down, so I think that's part of the problem here is we see harassment coming in from Libero, forcing Taimu back, but he gets protected. They're going to dive deep, but Taimu just retreats, gives up the point, and look at how much damage he's able to get here. Stays on the high ground, gets another headshot. Oh my god,
Wraps
Taimu!
around.
How many times this evening are we going to see this?
Deadeye comes through, finds a drop down kill onto Hoon as he gets knocked out of the mech into the baby form. Flashbang down, looking for Libero, can't quite find that final shot, but a Harry Hook yet again is there to scoop up the Genji. The team kill completed by EnVyUs, and the payload is moving at such an accelerated rate.
You know, midair
will die, but whatever.
Midair Deadeye Taimu here, just casually. He's the only one who doesn't have an ultimate here for EnVyUs to secure this push. Hoon so close to that ultimate here. The self-destruct to buy time. He doesn't have it yet. He will likely for this final hold, but there's so much time for EnVyUs. If they can bait it out, they'll have such a massive advantage. Here we go. Taimu looking for picks here. The self-destruct comes out first actually for Mickey.
Keeps himself safe, dashes away, and Nutt's gonna be the first one that goes down. Coco leaps in, finds the kill. Taimu eventually gets rid of the Genji. Effect goes down to the self-destruct by Hoon, but there's still such a man advantage here for EnVyUs. Now with that sound barrier down, just mitigating all the DPS output coming through from the side of Meta Athena. I mean, just get picked off as Changshik leaps his way back in, but Saya player goes down. One of the biggest delay tactics that Meta has available for them is taken out, and now the Discord Orb here onto the Monkeys. He just desperately tries to leap in. Will be saved, but it's at the cost of the Transcendence, and there's still 3 minutes 15 on the clock here for EnVyUs. So even if they don't get it on this push, it's so likely that they get on the next one because it's only 6 meters left to go.
Miracle hold here so far for Meta Athena. Effect does pick off Changshik on his way out. You should be there for the next fight, but that was razor thin the hold. And as you said, so many ultimates used. Transcendence baited out. The Dragon Blade for Libero, who actually really carried that fight kind of on his back here, but EnVyUs has so much time to build ultimates. They have nearly the Deadeye.
Hello, is anybody on this payload right now?
Okay, close call there.
I mean, it had a little bit of distance from the rollback, so they actually pretty much high up where it was before that fight was lost.
Oh, again! And this is, man, you probably just don't even want to try to pick him off at this point.
I would just leave Taimu alone if I was side player. Yet again, the flashbang comes through, the headshot registers, and the team-wide nearly completed. That should be it. Libero